Welcome back, it's me, Lou, and today we are going to take a trip down memory lane. So what I have here are a pair of custom action figures I made a long time ago. And we're talking about the early 90s. I was probably a freshman in high school when I made these. And they're very near and dear to my heart, and we'll talk a little bit about my history of making custom action figures, but in particular, these two dudes. On our left, we have the X-Men character Bishop, and on the right, we have Omega Red, the Wolverine villain. So, let's enter the time machine and travel back to the 90s. And we start with this. This is the special edition Wizard magazine. This was published back in 1992. So I was probably a freshman or a sophomore in high school. At the time, Wizard magazine was a really big magazine publication that covered the comic book industry and pop culture. They became so big at the time that eventually the owner of the company, Jared Shamus, he'd go on to create his own line of comic book conventions that at first started out in Chicago and New York, and they eventually just branch off to around the country, and it's what's known as Wizard World. So if you've ever gone to a Wizard World convention, they originally started out as comic book conventions, and the big one was always in Chicago, and it was all based around this popular magazine that was dedicated to comic books. And it was a very fun time to be a comic book fan. It was a very fun time to be into pop culture. And this magazine kind of just took everything that we loved about it and just, crammed it all into this, I don't know, maybe like 64-page magazine. But this, so the magazine came out on a monthly basis, but this was like almost kind of like a one-shot special edition, and they were kind of celebrating on the cover. Image Comics just got started, and they had all the different comic book artists draw their characters. We have Eric Larson's Savage Dragon, Rob Liefeld's Youngblood, Mark Silvestri's Cyberforce, Jim Lee's Wildcats, Todd McFarlane's Spawn, and Will Portacio's Wetworks, and Jim Valentino's Shadowhawk. So what makes this magazine very special is that in a previous issue of Wizard magazine, they had a call for action figure customizers to send in photos of their action figure customs. And I answered the call, and then I sent a couple of photos in, and I actually got some of my action figures, my custom ones, published in the magazine. So we're gonna take a look at those, and let's make some room here on the table. So I've actually showed this briefly in a previous video, but we're just going to talk about it in this one. So here's Wizard's showcase of different custom action figures produced by the fans. And I submitted 2 figures. I had a Shatterstar, which is right here. Shatterstar, the other dimensional warrior and resident killing machine of X-Force, is made from a Toy Biz Daredevil, thanks to Louis S. Bernal of Schaumburg, Illinois. Yeah, so that was me. I think I'm the only artist here who had 2 figures showcased. So X-Force was a big deal around this time, and I love the character of Shatterstar. And at the time, Toy Biz didn't make a Shatterstar action figure. So I took a Daredevil figure as the base, and then I sculpted all the armor bits and repainted them. Unfortunately, I don't have this figure anymore. I don't know what happened to it. There's a chance I might have thrown it away or something, or just lost it. And my second figure that I had showcased in here was, let's see if we can find it. Here it is. It's Bishop, the hot future X-Man, hails from Louis S. Bernal from Schaumburg, Illinois, and it's made from a Kenner Terminator figure. So here's my custom X-Men Bishop figure, and as they've stated, it was made from a Kenner Terminator, and I have that on me. So here's my, all right. So here's the base figure I used for my Bishop, and it came from the Terminator line that Kenner was producing. The movie Terminator 2 or T2 was super hot, and Kenner had a line of toys. This one kind of captured the likeness of actor Arnold Schwarzenegger, and it had a cool play feature where if you move the arm, this explodes off, and then you kind of see his cybernetic T-800 endoskeleton underneath. So when I saw this action figure in the stores, my first thought was this would make a great base body for a custom action figure. Just because this figure, I mean, when you look at it, it's so kind of generic looking. He's not like any sort of fancy costume. It's just a dude in boots, pants, and for the most part, he's almost nude except for this tank top. And it's a muscular build, so he already kind of has like superhero proportions. So I remember at the store when I saw this, I'm like, you know what? I could probably pass this off as the X-Men character Bishop. Bishop kind of had a flat top haircut. He's kind of buff like this, and you know, it seemed like it was a match made in heaven. So I took this action figure, and what I did was I permanently affixed this to here so it wouldn't keep on shooting off. I think I just glued it, and then I began to paint the action figure. And let's take a look at the finished product. So here's the finished Bishop, the one that was showcased in the magazine. And this is the original plastic tray that that this action figure came in. I kind of had the foresight that I knew that I wanted to keep this figure in the package. So this way I just dropped something. So this guy originally fit into here, and let's recreate that. So when you bought this figure back in the 90s, it looked like this on the card, and it came on a Terminator card. So you'd see the endoskeleton, and then you'd see the Schwarzenegger facade. But let me grab this. Let me put, alright, so this Bishop has not aged well. The paint, I think the paint I used on this wasn't acrylic. I think I used enamels. And the paint feels like it's starting to deteriorate, so it's all like tacky and sticky. So I'm not going to necessarily handle them too much because it's getting kind of gross. But yeah, here's the Bishop. As you can see, you know, it's the same figure. The only thing different is I gave Bishop, he had a mullet haircut, so I sculpted more hair on the back. I used putty, epoxy putty, but I think it was this like plumber's putty. So it's kind of hard to work with, but it's like really durable. And the curing time is really short, so I had to like sculpt it really fast. And then I sculpted his shoulder armor, and then his belt, and then I just kind of painted it. The paint job isn't the greatest, but I mean, I think I was like 13 or 14 years old at the time, and I had very limited modeling skill at that time. And the selection of paints I had, it's not like I went to the model shop. I think I just bought whatever enamel paints. These might have been testers that Toys R Us had. And I even made Bishop's red scarf bandana deal, and he just fits into there, and it's Bishop in the comic books. Let me grab the comic book. So this was his first appearance. This is actually a reprint. It's not the original. So I was really excited about the character. That's why I kind of wanted to make him. And at the time, Toy Biz didn't make a Bishop action figure. So Bishop actually carried around a shotgun kind of deal, and the toy came with a shotgun, so you know, it kind of worked. And Bishop doesn't appear until I think the last page. Right there. This was such a fun time of comic books also. The artwork was amazing. The stories were fun. So that's my Bishop. But in addition to using this guy as a base for Bishop, I also used him as a base for the X-Men villain Omega Red. So around this time period, Omega Red debuted in the comic books. He appeared in X-Men. This trading card might actually be worth some money, so I gotta be careful. It's weird right now. A lot of these trading cards from the 90s, there's like a trading card boom going on, and I was looking this up online, and some of these old Marvel trading cards, like for a complete set, the ones produced by Impel, they're going online for like, I don't know, for a complete set, like anywhere between like $3,000 and $5,000, which is ridiculous. But this is mine. I doubt I'd sell it. It has like tape on it too. Alright, so here's Omega Red. Just like the Bishop, the paint's getting really funky. So the figure, if the paint's like deteriorating, so the figure's almost like melting. So it didn't look like this back in the day. And as you can see here, same figure. This one required more work. I sculpted a lot more hair onto him. He has his ponytail. He has his face armor, the shoulder pads, all the straps and harnesses. And Omega Red, he has these tentacles. And I actually made those also, except they're not in here for some reason. And for that, I just used poster tack. You know, poster tack, it's pliable, it's moldable, and you can just shape it out. And that's what I did. I shaped it out so it looked like the tentacles. And since, you know, since poster tack kind of has an adhesive to it, you can actually like attach it to his forearms to recreate this look. And it's crazy. These figures, like back in the day, they like retailed for like $4.99. So yeah, this is just kind of like a quick trip down memory lane. I just wanted to share this with you. It's not nothing fancy, but it's a part of, like, for me, my action figure history. You know, to this day, I still make custom action figures. Not as much as I used to. I'm starting to dabble in it a little bit more, but it's just a matter of trying to find the time to do it. Okay, so let's just wrap this up. As I've stated in previous videos, if there's an action figure that doesn't exist of like your favorite like comic book character or video game character, you know, take the challenge upon yourself and see if you can make a custom action figure. It's a really fun hobby, and in this day and age, there's so many tutorials you can find on YouTube that got like, you know, that could teach you stuff like sculpting, painting, and the amount of work that you can find online from the fan community is just so overwhelming that there's so much stuff out there. It could be really inspiring. So yeah, I'd say, you know, take a stab at action figure customizing. You know, you can make a figure from scratch. You could repaint a figure. You know, the sky's the limit. It's a really rewarding hobby, and for me, it's kind of like one of those things that I'm really glad I took up. So, once again, my name is Lou. Thank you so much for checking out this video. I greatly appreciate it. Take care, and I'll talk to you soon.